So is MKLeo truly back to the dominance of 2019? We don't know yet, but all I'm saying is this. Don't be surprised if MKLeo sweeps the next NA major he attends. So, yeah, about that. This past weekend, Rise and Grind 2023 went down in Waco, Texas, and I've already made an extensive recap of the top 8 of the tournament in yesterday's video. However, the most interesting and noteworthy thing about this tournament wasn't even really the top 8 at all. It was the fact that, similar to a Japanese major, most of the top 8 seeds got upset and lost before top 8 even happened. I usually only cover top 8s of tournaments because that's just my format, but often people will ask me to go over notable upsets outside of a major's top 8. Well, today, those viewers are getting exactly what they've asked for, because today we'll be going over every single major upset that took place outside of Rise and Grind 2023's top 8. Just a reminder that if you want to support me monetarily, you can do so with the Patreon and channel membership links in my description. With that out of the way, let's start off by catching up with MKLeo, who we started off this video with. MKLeo came into the event as the 4th seed, and as I showed you at the very beginning of this video, suffered an upset loss to Skinny the Pooh in a 3-0 loss for their final pools match. After winning one more set to make it out of pools, MKLeo started off top 64 from losers, defeating Stroder, Z, and Nico all in 3-0s. Nico was actually the 20th seed who got upset earlier on themselves by Kansas Palutena main Justice. MKLeo then moved on to go up against Riddles. That's right, Riddles had gotten upset early on in the tournament by Base Mage in a Game 5 set after Base Mage had defeated Jackal 3-1.
Honestly, if I'm base mage, I'm just gonna keep playing aggressively in your shield. All of these aerials that we're hitting, one back air can definitely send it at this point. Will it beat the dash attack? It will! And that will be base mage getting a huge upset and a little bit of a pop-up.
This meant that yes, Riddles and MKLeo fought for 17th place. And let me tell you, this set was extremely close. Game 1 saw Leo start with Joker and lose to Riddles' Kazuya. Once Game 2 started, MKLeo swapped to Marth, who he would stay for the rest of the set, defeating Riddles' Kazuya for Game 2. Game 3 and 4 saw Riddles go Terry, and this Terry would go back and forth with Leo's Marth for Game 3 and 4, leading into a decisive Game 5.
Sangre fría, la mente de un matemático. Vamos a ver porque se puede venir cosa ahora mismo. Si no, parecía que iba a llegar el tipo y de momento no llegaba a ser el gol lo que tiene Riddles en su parte. Para llevarse peligro. No puede ser, se lo lleva finalmente Aitor. Se lo va a llevar finalmente Riddles.
And ultimately, Riddles would win this crucial Game 5, moving on in bracket and eliminating MKLeo at 17th place as the 4th seed. But Riddles didn't make top 8 either, so what happened to him? Well, Riddles went up against Jazzo, who swept him 3-0 in an insane upset win, eliminating Riddles at 13th.
But only if the final hit connects, Riddles back in it, Jazzo went. You never know. You got nothing to say there. You got to take the stock.
If this is not Plotama, this is not Plotama.
It is not. It is not. Jazzo able to seal out.
Jazzo would unfortunately not make top 8 either, losing 3-0 to Tarek for 9th. Now, the story of MKLeo's losers run being ended by Riddles for 17th was the big storyline when it comes to upsets at Rise and Grind 2023, and it explains why 2 of our top 8 seeds, Riddles and Leo, didn't make top 8. But we have several other top 8 seeds to go over. Before we do though, let's briefly cover some insane upsets that befell some of the top players that were just outside of the top 8 seeds. First off, we have Goblin's losers run, responsible for lots of top seeds being eliminated early. Goblin lost in pools to Skeleton, a hidden boss Kazuya 3-0, and almost didn't even make it out of pools, going Game 5 with talented Joker main Toast. In top 64, Goblin was responsible for defeating many top 8 hopefuls, defeating first Send 3-1, who had lost in pools Game 5 to Ray, a Zelda main. Goblin also went on to defeat Lancelot, the best player in Finland, in a Game 5 set. After this, Goblin got impressive wins over Wrath 3-0 and Louis Money 3-1, before losing in a close Game 5 set to Geist for a final placement of 13th.
Setting up for another edge guard, but there it is, one slight miss, and Skeleton doesn't even have to really land it. You can just set up for another one, and that is it. Oh my goodness, to seal the deal.
Dragon up.
I already mentioned earlier how Jackal lost to Base Mage 3-1, dropping into losers, but after this, Jackal would actually lose to Chunky Kong 3-0, bowing out of the tournament at 25th as the 10th seed. Chase lost early on in pools to Pharaoh, and in loser side of top 64 managed to defeat Atomic before losing in another upset loss 3-1 to MFA for a final placement of 33rd as the 16th seed. And as much as I am sad to report it, Despade unfortunately lost in pools to Z3-0, and then lost to Boandon 3-1 for a final placement of 65th as the 24th seed. But hey, shout out to Campaign, Kansas City's old head TO who moved away, who actually managed to place 49th, defeating El Cancel, Bagel Riz, and lost, as well as Castle and Memphis to make top 64, losing only afterwards to Skits for 49th. And that wraps it up for the huge upsets outside of our top 8 seeds. And now to finish off the video, let's take a look at what actually happened to the top 8 seeds we haven't covered who didn't end up making top 8, those players being Dabuz and Kurama. Also, Tweak was technically the 3rd seed of the event, but Tweak ended up DQing, so that one really doesn't count. Kurama came into the event as the 8th seed and actually made it all the way to winners quarterfinals, having a respectable 3-0 loss versus Mia.
So close too. I mean, once again, Kurama, this is like stock point at this point. You have a ton of rage, good air dodge down. The forward air not going to be able to connect. But once again, take a seat. Mia going to be 3-0 in Kurama.
However, Kurama would actually
like
go
the
on to
Olimar
lose
pick
3-1
over
to
the Rosalina.
Shattuck
I
in the
mean,
losers
Min,
top
you know,
8
throw out the window
qualifier,
immediately
after
because
Shattuck
the
had
edge
defeated
guards
top
and
8
Bayonetta are
hopefuls
so
Ned
dangerous,
and Peanut
but
to make it.
I think with
And
Rosa, the
lastly,
big problem you're gonna
Dabuz
run
came into
into
the
is that
event as the
Bayonetta
6th
has
seed
these
and
huge
also made it
hitboxes
into
that are
winners
gonna send Luma
quarterfinals,
into tumble
this time
very,
being
very
upset in a
quickly,
3-1 loss to
Olimar
Lima,
may die
dropping
pretty
down
quickly,
into
but that
losers, where
small,
Dabuz lost a
hurt
close
box is
game 5
actually
set
really,
versus
really
Anathema.
effective for
For
him.
now.
Busby is hanging on right now.
Yeah, and the tiny pop-off on the side of the bus is ready and to go there. No, wait, no, he's not going to die from this. Wait, is it? Oh,
He is gone.
I think it is indeed.
Wow.
Rise and Grind 2023 was one of those tournaments, with the majority of the top 8 seeds being upset before top 8, and it really ended up feeling like a Japanese major. But this chaos, these upsets, made Rise and Grind truly exciting. It was only last week that people were complaining on Twitter that Smash had no storylines, that the meta and tournaments had grown stale. Well, it seems as though Rise and Grind heard us all say that and decided to throw us an insane left-field ball, upsetting nearly all of our favorites at the biggest tournament of the weekend. Say what you will about Rise and Grind 2023, but the one thing you can't say is that it was boring. That's going to be it for today's video. Before I go, shout out to my patrons Seth Laster and FrostGold333, and my YouTube member Stormtrooper, Lokosoko, Mattoon, Roropok, Chavo, Teacher Jr., Defective, and my Tier 2 members Mike G90K. If you want to support me using either of these methods, links are below. Tomorrow I'll be covering El Salvador's Smash Legends 4, but until then, I've been Mr. Mice, and thank you all so much for watching.